Well, now House Republicans on the House Judiciary Committee are demanding Fulton County DA Fani Willis answer questions over her, quote, politically motivated prosecution.
All right, here to react is former House Judiciary Committee Senior Counsel Julian Epstein. Julian, great to see you. Legally, when you saw the mugshot, everyone had a different emotion. But legally, as the president gets set to find out when he's eventually going to get into court with 18 others, is this a strong case? Is this a case you would have brought if you were Miss Willis?
Listen to what he says.
I don't think it is a particularly strong case. And good morning, Brian.
Morning.
I don't think it's a particularly strong case. I think, look, I did not vote for Donald Trump, and I was very critical of the January 6th activities and the riot and the raid on the Capitol. I still think that if you are going to bring a case against the former president, it has got to be a compelling case, not just to 12 jurors, but to the country as a whole. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that this does that. I think there are a number of questions. The first question I have is that I had not heard a good answer to is how did it take the local prosecutors, and I'm saying this as a Democrat, how did it take the local prosecutors 3.5 years, nearly 4 years to bring this case? Yeah. Why have they not answered the question about Fani Willis's?
It's taken them 3 years, but they want it done in less than one. Interesting, huh? Quite interesting.
Conflict of interest. She held a fundraiser for the opponent of one of the targets of this investigation. We haven't heard any answer to that question. Third, generally when a state and a federal government take on a very similar, almost identical case, and this is very similar to the case that is being brought by the Justice Department on the January 6th matter, right, the state would have to have a rather distinct and articulable interest, a separate interest. What is the strong interest the state has here that is not being served by the federal prosecution? So I have real questions about sort of the Democrats say they are just sort of playing it by the books. They're just looking for accountability. That's fine, but I think the Democratic elites and the left elites in both the legal and the political world have got to answer some of these questions. Right. I think beyond that, there are problems with this case, the way it's structured as a RICO case, 19 defendants, 41 counts, hundreds of overt acts. Some of the overt acts that are included are things like tweets and press releases and public statements by President Trump declaring his victory. Right. The things that are all protected by the First Amendment. And I think the case is going to be, as you and I talked about this last week, Brian, I think the central arguments of this case are going to be questionable. I mean, the case really rests on two essential arguments. First, that when President Trump said to Rosenberger, find me 11,780 votes, when he said that, was he asking Rosenberger to falsify the votes? And I think that is the presumption of what the prosecution.
And he will say no.
Central tenet of the prosecution.
Right.
He would say no. And I think him simply saying, find me 11,780 votes, right, I think that is a matter of interpretation, but I don't know that that's necessarily evidence that he's looking to falsify the votes. I think the other question is, sorry to be long-winded on this, I think the other question is this issue about false elector, this issue about this false slate of electors. This essentially relied on a legal theory of some of the president's attorneys on the reading of the 12th Amendment, that the vice president has a sole discretion to turn down certain electors from certain states. I think that's a bizarre and extreme theory. Right. A couple of very conservative attorneys hold it. I don't know that holding that theory or acting on it is necessarily criminal. So Julie, I think there's all kinds of problems in this case.
Yeah, no, obviously. And we've talked about that. Julian, we booked you because you were senior counsel on House Judiciary back in the day.
Chief counsel for the Democrats.
Thank you very much. Makes that a much better business card. Now it sounds like the House Republicans, under the direction of Jim Jordan, they're going after Fani Willis, and they're trying to figure out whether or not she collaborated with the Biden administration. We saw this with Alvin Bragg. He opens the case against Trump here in New York City. Then the Republicans went after him, had a field hearing and stuff like that. What do you make of the Republicans going after the local DA?
And this is all coming from a Democrat. He said it himself. I didn't vote for Trump. As a matter of fact, I think he said I would never vote for Trump. Maybe he didn't say that part. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. But I know he said I didn't vote for Trump. Clearly a Democrat, obviously a Democrat, admitted a Democrat, and even he is saying there's basically no case here. There's basically nothing here. And there's lots of questions that need to be answered. Lots of questions. So, I'm happy to, one, hear that, obviously, but two, also to hear that Republicans are, going back at them. But I also have another clip I want to check out with you guys from one of Trump's lawyers and what was said. Let's dive into it.
Joining us now, former President Trump's legal spokeswoman, now legal spokeswoman, Alina Habba. It's good to see you, Alina. Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett. He didn't look happy in that mugshot, I'll say that. And who would be happy? This is now the fourth time that this has happened. This is unprecedented. We've never had a former president ever indicted. We never had a chief political rival of the opposition party ever, treated like this before. You look at the case. Let's analyze it from a legal standpoint.
Sure. It's garbage. How about a very plain, simple English standpoint? When you have the president whose sole responsibility is to take care of America, the Constitution, election interference, and make sure that we are the America that I used to know, not the America you and I know now. And he is then prosecuted because he is leading so significantly, frankly, in the polls that he doesn't even need to go on a debate. This is the crisis that we're in as American people. There is no case. Unfortunately, we have library books, Sean. We have bookkeeping because they didn't like the category on the QuickBooks tab that he put on a legal expense. And then we have this, which is him doing his job as the president of the United States, frankly, something we haven't seen for several years since Biden's been in the administration.
Yeah.
And they're going to try and put him in prison because they can't beat him.
Let's talk about, and by the way, how do you get 4 trials in?
I agree with that statement.
And during a primary season into a general election season, it would be an impossibility from my standpoint.
Right.
Now, in the case of this RICO case, the obligation to prove intent is critical.
Right.
On all of these charges. In other words, that the defendant acted with the intention of committing a crime or a fraud. I would bet every penny I had that if you gave Donald Trump a lie detector test and you asked him whether he believed everything that he was saying, the answer would be 1,000% yes. And yet we have historically, we've had other slates of electors brought forward. How did this happen, and how do you prove intent, Greg Jarrett?
Well, I don't think you can in this particular case. Proving a criminal state of mind means that the district attorney has to prove that Donald Trump was aware that what he was doing was unlawful. Everything we know about his conduct leading up to the certification of electors is that he thought he was availing himself properly of the legal process. And Exhibit A, and this is the most exculpatory for the president, is his conversation with the Secretary of State in Georgia, in which he is complaining about ballot irregularities, faulty machines, valid votes that aren't being counted, invalid votes that are being counted, election laws that are being violated, petitions that are being ignored, and in the end, he is demanding a recount and a review, which, by the way, Brad Raffensperger has a duty to do. So he's asking him, do your duty. Fani Willis is misrepresented and lied in an earlier filing about what Donald Trump said, claiming he said, you need to find 11,780 votes. That's not what he said. Read the transcript or listen to the conversation.
It is a long transcript.
Right.
And in that transcript, at times he's talking about there are hundreds of thousands of votes that you guys got wrong.
Right. He is saying, I need to find that many votes because that is my vote deficit. Well, every losing candidate says that, which is why they ask for reviews, recalculations, and recounts. It's perfectly lawful. It is not criminal intent.
All right, Alina, let me ask you this. In the case in Washington, they want to start the trial on January 2nd. Interesting, in Georgia, they want to start on March 4th. Okay, that's a Monday. On Tuesday, the next day, that would be called Super Tuesday, one of the most important primary days for anybody that is running for president. Is there any possible way you foresee that he can run a presidential race, be tried on have four separate trials and successfully compete, or, do they just take his time away as a candidate? And he's good luck to him, and who cares?
Well, that's exactly right. And quite honestly, Sean, that's not even the full picture. We have Letitia James. Let's not forget her. She's about as sick a ticket as Jack Smith and the rest of them.
Well, she ran on a platform to get one man, Donald Trump, one organization, the Trump Organization, and one family, the Trump family.
Right, that's right. So you have DAs and AGs who are now able to come out and say, I want to get Donald Trump and elect me on that cause, and I'm going to do it. Then they do it. So we have October, Letitia James. We have January, E. Jean Carroll. Then we have the criminal indictments. Don't forget those. Those are all by design. So everything is, the judges can't move, they don't want to move, and they want a speedy trial. But they've had years and years and years to investigate these cases, but they didn't bring it until now, and now they need a speedy trial. It's political interference and election interference.
You believe that? 2.5 years they waited, real quick.
Oh, absolutely. Now they want the first trial to happen in 2 months. But what Alina just said is really important. It's a violation of the canons of ethics that govern prosecutors to campaign on a promise of putting a specific individual behind bars. Their duty is to see that justice is done, not to gain a conviction based on their own ambitions and desire to advance their career. But that's what Fani Willis has done, Letitia James, as well as Alvin Bragg.
Wow.
Hey, Sean.
How sad. How sad. Right? Like you said there, you had individuals running on trying to, convicting and arresting, or arresting and convicting Uncle Trump. Running on it. What a shame. And as the first gentleman said that we checked out, there's no case here. There's no case. This is child's play. But like I said, I think the whole purpose is a death by 1,000 cuts, and just to drain them or to bleed them out, right? Bleed them out. We're gonna have you in this court, that court, that court, and that court, and possibly even another court, all while you're trying to run. Have fun. Have fun. Good luck. Good luck. Right? That's what I think the purpose is. But what do y'all say? Let me know. I don't think it's gonna work. I think they have made a major miscalculation, and they're panicking, and rightfully so. I get it. I understand. And like I said before, because I try to put myself in other people's shoes, and if I were in their shoes and I had been conducting myself the way that they have been conducting themselves, I would be scared as hell. I would be as afraid as ever. For a lot of folks, a lot of the elites, I'm older, right? I don't have a whole long life to live still, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to go spend the next 10 years or whatever I have left, 15 years or whatever. And I'm not making fun of old folks. Make no mistake about it. Like I've said before, getting to an old age is a beautiful thing. There's a lot of people who will never get that opportunity, right? Every morning we wake up and God blesses us to, take another deep breath of air. It's a blessing. It's a wonderful thing. But if I am them, I am afraid to spend my last 10 years in a prison cell. And at that age, it might even be less, due to the stresses and whatever else, compiling on you at that age. I'm sure it isn't great for the body, so that 10 might be only 5, right? And Uncle Trump has already said it, and I think I dropped a YouTube short on this. Make sure you guys are checking out my YouTube shorts daily. But Uncle Trump said revenge is sweet. I believe in an eye for an eye. So they know what's coming. They know what's happening. And if I was them, I'd fight like HE double hockey sticks to make sure that it didn't happen if I'm them. But at this point, there's nothing that they can do. They've dug themselves into a hole. And the best thing that they can honestly do at this point is to keep fighting like HE double hockey sticks. And when it becomes very, very clear, and it will in 2024, that they have no shot at winning, and that time will come in 2024, they'll have to leave this country. And I do believe that they will. I do believe that they will. I truly believe that you will see some elites get out of here. That's just my humble opinion. Or they'll go live on some island somewhere. That's just my humble opinion. Y'all can let me know how y'all feel about it in the comment section. But I think they're up Poops Creek without a paddle in sight. They're desperately trying to, use their hands to get up creek, and it's not really getting anywhere. But like I said, that's just my interpretation of all of this. Y'all can let me know how y'all feel. Once again, I'm no professional, right? I'm no legal expert. This is just me compiling what everyone is saying, what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, all together into one thought. Obviously, you had a Democrat there at the beginning of this video who was stating, hey, there's nothing here. You got his lawyer saying, hey, this is child's play. There's nothing here. Plus others. Plus I'm seeing the videos of black folks standing up, cheering for Trump, free Trump, right? I'm seeing the LGBTQ community come out, support Trump. Latinos support Trump. I think they're in for a long ride. Democrats, that is. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Peace and love. I'm out.